Special Counsel Jack Smith put Judge Aileen M on notice. In the ongoing legal saga involving former President Donald Trump's classified documents case, tensions have escalated between Florida Judge Aileen M and Department of Justice, DOJ, Special Counsel Jack Smith. The conflict between the two figures has attracted significant attention and scrutiny, prompting a closer examination of the underlying issues driving their disagreement. Hello and welcome back to the News Media Hands channel. Aileen M, the Florida judge in charge of Trump's classified documents case, is in odds with Jack Smith. Let's dive deeper into it to shed some light on this rift. As always, remember, we value your comments and feedback, and your subscriptions help grow the channel. Thank you for your support, and let's get started. Jack Smith, the special counsel in the criminal classified documents case against former President Donald Trump, is expressing growing frustration with Judge Aileen M's handling of the proceedings. Smith's recent response to Cannon's request for proposed jury instructions signifies a challenge to her jurisprudence and hints at potential future actions to circumvent her authority in the case. The escalating standoff is particularly significant given the legal complexity and implications of this case for Trump. Cannon's request for proposed jury instructions, which involves scenarios related to the Presidential Records Act, PRA, has raised eyebrows among legal experts. Smith vehemently opposes the inclusion of the PRA in the instructions, arguing that it is irrelevant to the case, which centers on the Espionage Act. He asserts that such instructions could prejudice the prosecution and tilt the case in Trump's favor, urging Cannon to promptly address the matter. The PRA's distinction between personal and presidential records has no bearing on whether a former president's possession of documents containing national defense information is authorized under the Espionage Act, Smith's filing says, and the PRA should play no role in the jury instructions. Smith goes on to indicate that Cannon's request would effectively stack the deck against the prosecution. Smith says that one version of the jury instructions Cannon requested would amount to asking the jury to make a factual finding with no proper legal connection to the case. He says that the other is even worse, that it would amount to nothing more than a recitation of Trump's PRA defense and would result in directing a verdict against the government. Lawyer Bradley Moss, a national security expert, noted how unusual it is for a legal team to speak about a judge this way and said it was born of frustration with Cannon. The exasperation that can be read into the Justice Department's filing was clearly meant to convey a simple view to Judge Cannon. They want her to make a ruling already, take ownership of the moment if she thinks Trump is right on the law, and let DOJ take this to the 11th Circuit, Moss said. Smith's response to Cannon's request is marked by sharp language and a clear indication that he might appeal to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals if necessary. He emphasizes that the PRA has no legal bearing on the case and underscores the urgency of resolving the matter before it jeopardizes the trial. By challenging Cannon's stance and hinting at potential appeals, Smith aims to ensure a fair and legally sound trial process. Moreover, it is vitally important that the court promptly decide whether the unstated legal premise underlying the recent order does, in the court's view, represent a correct formulation of the law, Smith writes. If the court wrongly concludes that it does, and that it intends to include the PRA in the jury instructions, it must inform the parties of that decision well in advance of trial. Jack Smith twice alludes to seeking a writ of mandamus from the appeals court to force Cannon to correct her error. The blunt, scolding language pervading the government's response, Anthony Alfieri, University of Miami law professor said, appears intended to make clear that the gravity of her errors will be magnified in the harsh, public light of appellate review, a result that will be both discrediting of and embarrassing for Judge Cannon. Although some Trump critics have raised the possibility that Smith might try to get Cannon removed from the case, this filing doesn't go that far. But it does make clear that Smith views the current situation as untenable, and he feels the need to put Cannon on notice. Speaking in such terms about the judge presiding over your case is best avoided, but Smith appears to see no other choice. The big question is how Cannon will respond. Despite the unconventional nature of Smith's approach in publicly criticizing the judge presiding over the case, he appears determined to assert the prosecution's position firmly. The filing underscores the high stakes involved and highlights the tension between the prosecution and the judiciary, raising questions about how Cannon will respond to Smith's assertive stance moving forward. Thanks for watching. If you like it, comment and hit the like and share buttons. Subscribe for future videos.